This episode of the podcast, we take a look at the movie What Men Want, directed by Adam Shankman and written by Tina Gordon and Peter Huyck, starring Taraji P. Henson, Aldis Hodges, Max Greenfield, Mark Cuban, Shaquille O'Neal, Brian Bosworth, and Richard Roundtree. Welcome to He Said, She Said Movie Reviews. This is the podcast where a happily married couple with similar but different movie tastes take a quick look at the movies, helping you make the right decision before your next movie. I'm your host, Tim.
And I'm April.
What Men Want. April gives this movie a 2.5, and I give it a 2.75. We'll tell you all about it after this one trailer.
I really want to see this movie. It's Shaft. It's about a New York City police detective, John Shaft. He is the nephew of the original 1970s detective, by the way. Goes on a personal mission to make sure the son of a real estate tycoon is brought to justice after a racially motivated murder. Samuel L. Jackson, the Vanessa Williams, and Christian Bale. This looks so good.
Yeah, I can't wait to see this. It really looks cool. Richard Roundtree is coming back in this to play his original role as Shaft, too. So this looks really good. Can't wait to see it. So we saw What Men Want. This is a story about a woman who's boxed out of her job as a sports agent by a male-dominated bunch of co-workers. It was directed by Adam Shankman and written by Tina Gordon and Peter Huyck. Cast of millions in this, but Taraji P. Henson plays the starring role of Ollie Davis, and Aldis Hodge plays her love interest in the movie, Will.
Right. And you had, let's see who else was in here. I mean, you had a lot of, Tracy Morgan, but you had a lot of cameos.
Yeah, a lot of cameos. Well, Brian Bosworth is the antagonist. He plays Nick Ivers, the head of the sports agency.
You had Shaq and Mark Cuban, who I adore.
You said Tracy Morgan. Lisa Leslie was in this. Shout out to Devonta Freeman from the Atlanta Falcons. He was in the movie.
And what I love, too, about this movie, obviously, it was filmed in our city. I loved seeing all the scenes, especially at Ponce. It was just, that part was fun.
Oh, Richard Roundtree was also in this movie.
Yes,
he played Ollie's father, so.
That is true. You cover director and writers, right?
Yes, I did.
All right. The interesting part about this director, Adam, he's known for The Wedding Planner, A Walk to Remember, etc. And I know I enjoyed both those movies.
Yeah, so. Great director. So yeah, I'm not sure awesome. What happened with this movie.
Well, and I guess we can just sort of start to kick it off. The runtime was 117 minutes, so that's under my amount. Everything was great in this movie, in my opinion. It was fine. It was even believable, but then it took a turn. I'll never understand this. Why we're going along at a movie, and even if it's a movie you're holding on to, okay, they decide in the end to do something silly. And then it just goes from savable to, in my opinion, not savable.
Yeah, this movie had a great theme. It's all about, can a woman make it in a male-dominated world? It had a good message, and it was going along really well at times, but then it just fell into silliness. There were some scenes, the end of Act 2, there's a scene that just almost ruins the movie for me, and it takes place in the church, and that's all I'll say about it. Right. Don't want to spoil it for those people who want to see the movie, but and then with the cameos, the dialogue is where this movie fell apart at times, right. And especially with the cameos, you had people who aren't actors trying to deliver silly one-liners, and it fails there a lot.
Right. I think they should have capitalized more on that. But what I want to talk about is Taraji.
Yeah, she was great.
She is my favorite and has been for many years, since Boston Legal. Don't forget, everybody saw her in Hidden Figures, and she will be starring in Best of Enemies.
Oh, yeah, I can't wait for Best of Enemies. We've talked about that before on the podcast. It looks like a tour de force for her. And she's a great actress in this movie.
Yeah, I guess what I want to say, which I think is really important, is that when I see a movie, if you're going along with a theme, okay, and you're going along with strong acting, The least you can do is make sure that not just the dialogue is matching, but also the scenes. And this movie, too, it centers around a young male athlete and his decision of where he's going to sign, which is a huge personal accomplishment. Anyone who understands sports knows that. But there was just a scene in there that had to do with the ad agency. I
know what you're talking about. There's a scene in there where they're doing something. They're doing the sales pitch to the athlete to try to get him to sign with the agency. And this is supposed to be like the premier sports agency in the world. And nobody that successful would do something as stupid as they did.
Yeah, as shady is a really good word for it. But I want to tell you, though, that up to then, I mean, I laughed, I enjoyed, there were some touching moments in this movie too. And there are some moments, certainly I was in a male dominated corporate world for many years, very successful, loved every minute of it. I was very fortunate to have all the men in my circle support me. So I watched some other things, though, of course, over the years that I could relate to a little bit in this movie. But there are some touching moments. She is awesome. But she has another coworker, too, that believes in her. And it's fun to kind of see that come full circle in the end. But I just want you to know, yes, did I laugh until, 3/4 of the movie, Tim? I enjoyed. I was great. And then about 3/4 it hit. A couple scenes and then, of course, the end.
Yeah. As April said, this movie definitely had some laugh out loud moments.
Yes.
I mean, I did laugh out loud in the theater, but the silly, stupid stuff, as I was saying, they had a really good message going in this movie, and they were doing a really good job of doing a comedy that centered around the message that they're trying to get across. But then they dropped into stupid slapstick humor that just didn't fit with the message they were trying to deliver and what they were trying to do and where they were going with the movie. Right.
But Taraji's shout out. You were, as always, like I said, all the way back to Boston Legal, baby. You are an amazing actor. I enjoy watching, not just professionally, but personally, reading about her. And, I got to see her in a personal interview once. She's great. So.
Okay. So 2.5. Why 2.5, April? What's the bottom line?
Well, I think I've already covered it. It was going along in a movie that was fine. It was fine. And then takes a downhill turn. But if anyone knows me, our listeners that have been with us all for many, many, many podcasts know, I like things to make sense, number one. And number two, I don't like silly slapstick stuff. It's especially a movie that it's going in a different direction. So that's why for me.
Okay. For me, like I said, I jokingly said 2.75. It could have been in 2.5. To me, I was entertained, and y'all know that I like to be entertained, and that's my main motivation behind a movie. I was entertained with this movie. I laughed out loud multiple times. There was some really funny stuff. But then the movie, as I said, at the end of Act 2, it really dipped into something really incredibly stupid. And it's hard to recover from that. I think this is a great movie. You should see it when it comes out on video or when it's streaming. It's something worth seeing. There is some good acting in this, but it
is also raunchy. We had a couple of inquiries on the side of, would this event do well for my employees? Well, it's raunchy. I mean, it is. And by the way, that was part of the intention with the movie and part of what makes it hilarious. It's just, I'm telling you that because, some people want to know that.
Yeah, this movie is definitely not suitable for young kids. So, definitely not there.
All right.
Well, that's it. We appreciate you taking the time to listen to us. If you haven't already done so, please go out to He Said, She Said Movies /subscribe and subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any of our wonderful insight into the movies.
We appreciate you. We'll see you at the movies. And I know you're enjoying the countdown to the Academy Awards, as we are as well. We'll see you at the movies.
See you at the movies.